everyone, this is Gina. Today I want to show you how to make a really simple pearl spiral bracelet. Now I am going to make a matching necklace using the pendant from the treasure bag in the next one, but I wanted to do the bracelet separately so you could get familiar with basically how we're going to do the stitch. So this is what we're going to do today. I model it in the end of the tutorial, so if you want to see what it looks like on, you can do that. I did have a charm on it, but I decided I didn't like it, so I took it off. So you can put a charm on the end, you can put a couple of your pearls, you can put an extender on it, whatever you want to do on the ending. But the way that we make this spiral, you can do a very nice clasped end, and it turns out very professional looking, or very functional. So anyway, let's go ahead and look and see what it takes to make this particular project. Okay, for this project today, we are going to be combining bead stringing and bead weaving basically. So what we're going to be using is some soft flex fine beading wire. So this is my soft flex fine. You can use medium too, but fine works better. You're going to have more room to move in and out of your beads. So I recommend soft flex fine. We're also going to be using 6-pound fire line, and I'm using it in the crystal, and I have put about 4.5 to 5 feet of the 6-pound fire line onto a size 11 beading needle. You can also use a size 12. We're going to be using some seed beads, and these are Toho galvanized permanent finish aluminum, and we're going to be using them in 15-0 and 8-0. We're going to be using 4mm round glass pearls. Now, if you don't have any in your stash, I have some that I will be listing real soon in a bunch of different colors. I'm going to use 2 different colors here. And I'm going to be using a steel blue and a white. You can use all one color, you can use several colors, you can alternate with a bicone instead of another color. As long as it's all 4mm, it'll work fine. You could even use a little cuboid, something like that. Well, it'll work out fine. But I'm using 2 colors of 4mm round pearls. Then I'm going to use a lobster claw, and I'm going to use an 8mm round jump ring. And that's the outside diameter. I'm going to be using 2 size 2 crimp tubes. And I'm going to be using 2 wire guardians. And these are small wire guardians, size 1. So you're going to want to go ahead and thread your needle, have it ready, and we will go ahead and get started with this project. Okay, so I have cut about 12 inches of soft flex fine beading wire, and then I am going to grab one of my wire guardians first. And I'm going to put one side of the beading wire through the wire guardian like this. Get you a little closer. And then I'm going to bring it down just a little ways and poke the other side through. And then just raise it up so that the wire is around the top of the wire guardian. So you just basically want to pull the longer side and pull the shorter side a little bit until you have the wire guardian nice and embedded in that little wire guardian, or the wire in the wire guardian. You know what I'm saying. Then I'm going to pick up the other end of the wire, and I'm going to slide on a size 2 crimp tube and just drop it down. So I've just put it from the other side of the wire, and now I'm going to put my short wire inside there and pull it all together. Then I'm going to squeeze this wire guardian together a little bit because it's pretty far apart. So I'm going to squeeze it together, push this back up, Now, let me get you in really close so you can see what I'm doing. So I've got both sides of the beading wire through the wire guardian and through the crimp tube. Now I'm going to take my beading needle and I am just going to go through that crimp tube. I am then going to hold onto the crimp tube and the wire guardian and everything between my thumb and my finger with a little bit of pressure and just pull my needle through and pull my thread all the way down, leaving about 3 inches, just some hanging out. And then I'm going to grab my crimping tool and I'm going to place the crimp tube in the second divot, the one closest to the handle. I'm going to push up on that crimp tube so that it's right at the end of my wire guardian, and I'm going to squeeze. Then I am going to turn it over so I can see my little divot in the middle here, and I'm going to place the crimping tube back into the crimping tool sideways. So the 2 little tubes that are formed on either side of that divot you made in the middle of the tube are touching your tool, and then you're going to squeeze again very tightly. Now you've got your beading wire all crimped and ended, and you've got your soft flex, or not your soft flex, excuse me, your fire line attached. It should all be nice and firm, just like this. Then I'm going to move my fire line away, and I'm going to just cut down the shorter side of the soft flex as close as I can get it to the crimp tube, just like that. And now I am going to take this end of the fire line and I am just going to trim it down, leaving myself a nice little tag like this. Make sure I'm in camera, but see the nice little tag I've left? Then I can take a lighter and just get it close and just melt that fire line down, and so it blobs up right against the wire guardian, just like that. Now everything should be very secure, nothing sliding out. Now we're just going to take the fire line and needle and just park it away from us. Just put it somewhere over here. Make sure that your thread goes that direction so that you can work with your actual bead stringing wire. Now we're just going to start stringing on 8/0 seed beads, and we're going to put on as many as it takes to get us about 1/4 inch short, or let's say a 1/2 inch short of the length we're going to want. So because we still have to put on our actual clasping. So if you want a 6.5 inch bracelet, including this part, you're going to make 6 inches of 8/0 seed beads. And then we're going to count and make sure it's an even number of seed beads. So you can either add one or subtract one, making sure you have an even number. Go ahead and continue stringing on your 8/0 seed beads, and I will come back after I have strung mine and tell you exactly how many I have picked up, just so you have a reference. I am shooting for about a 7.5 inch bracelet. So go ahead and continue just stringing on your 8/0s, and we'll be back. Okay, so I have put 76 8/0 seed beads onto my piece of wire. Now, the way I'm measuring it is from the very tip of the wire guardian to the last bead, and it's just a little over 7 inches. I want my bracelet to be about 7.5 to 8 inches, simply because the spiral is 1/2 inch around, so it's going to take up a 1/2 inch of space on your wrist. So I am making sure I accommodate for that. So I'm going just a little over 7 inches, about 7.25, and then with my clasping I will have around a 7.75 to 8 inch bracelet, and that should work fine because normally I like a 7.5, so that gives me a 1/2 inch extra. So, or not quite, but around there. And now I have all my beads on here. I have it the length I want it. I'm going to end this side also. So we are going to grab our crimp tube and put it on. And then we're going to grab our wire guardian and we're going to slide it on. And I have quite a bit of extra beading wire, but I like to have extra just in case while I'm using wire guardians and stuff, because it just makes it easier to manipulate it. You can go more like a 10-inch, maybe a 10.5-inch piece of wire and still have plenty of room. So I put my wire guardian down on one side. I'm going through the other side of the wire guardian, and then I'm going to go through just the crimp tube. I don't want to slide down any of my 8/0 seed beads because we're going to be sewing through those. So I'm just holding onto the stable side here, and I'm going to pull the long piece of thread down until I have this. Now, you want to make sure you grab your crimp tube and just kind of move it up. You want to have about 3 millimeters of space on your bracelet between your beads and your crimp tube. So let me get you really close so you can see. Here is my crimp tube right here, and here are my beads. So you can see I have a little bit of slack in there. That's going to give me room to move my beads around while I sew between them. And now I can just take my crimping tool and I'm holding that right where I want it. Then I'm going to put the crimp tube in the second divot of my crimping tool, and I am just going to squeeze. And then I'm going to turn it over, and you can see that I have the little divot in the middle. I'm going to put the crimp tube in sideways so that the two little tubes on either side of the divot that are encasing the wire are touching the crimp tool, and I'm in the first divot closest to the tip of the plier, and I'm going to squeeze again. Just like that. Now I'm going to take my flush cutter and I'm going to place it on the wire very close to the crimp tube and pull. And cut. Jeez Louise, anything will come out of my mouth anymore. I don't know. I just don't know. Okay, so this is what I've got now. And we're going to get our needles situated, get your pearls and your beads ready, and we'll get started on making the spiral. Okay, so now I've got the side of the bracelet that the thread is coming out of. What we're going to do is just put the long length of bracelet away from you and hold this end towards you, and then slide up 2 of the 8/0 seed beads with your needle, and then pull it through. So this is what I have. And then I am going to pick up, let me move my, I don't know why I put my beads on that side, but I'm going to pick up a 15/0, and then a pearl, and then a 15/0. And I'm starting with my white pearls. And like I said before, you can use one color if you want. You don't have to alternate colors, but I'm going to. So I'm starting with my white one. I have a 15/0 4mm pearl and a 15/0, and then I'm going to go back into both of these 8/0 seed beads that I'm coming through. So I'm just coming around and coming through the other side of them, just like this. And then I'm going to hold on to those 2 8/0 seed beads, and I'm going to just pull this up. And you want to pull it up tightly and have it up against those 2 8/0s. Now, because we just crimped our thread in, we want to make sure that it's secure. We're going to sew around this particular unit again. So coming out of your 8/0 seed beads, you're going to go into the 15/0, the pearl, and the 15/0 on the other side. So I'm just going to go through the 15/0 and pearl, and then I'll go through this 15/0 on this side. Give it a nice little tug. And then we're going to tie a little knot between the 15/0 on the little unit we just put on and between the 8/0 on the beading wire. So we're just going to kind of go underneath that 15-0, and then we're just going to pull a loop and situate that loop so that it is on the top side of that 15-0 on the thread between the 8-0 and the 15-0 here. And then we're going to go through that loop. Pull it down and pull a knot right underneath there. If it pulls your unit out like this, then you're just going to hold on to your unit and pull your thread and pull your knot tight and pull everything up against the 8-0s again, just like this. Now, we are going to go back up the 2 8-0s we started in and then into another one. So we're going to go up 3. This is just a basic spiral now, except for you're not adding the beads as you make it. You've got your core beads already available to you. So how we're going to do this is we're always going to go down 2 and up 3. So we're up 3 right now of our 8-0 seed beads, our core beads. We are going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead and a pearl and a 15-0. And now I'm switching to my blue. And now I'm coming out of this bead here. I'm going to go down 2, counting the bead that I'm coming out of. So 1, 2, and I'll go up 2, 3. So I'm going down 2 and up 3. Okay, we'll do that one more time. My verbiage might have been a little confusing there. Let's do that again. Now, as you put these on, push them all to the right side. Keep your core beads facing you, so you always have your core beads to work with, and your spiral will go in one direction. If you get them off, they will not spiral correctly. So now we're coming out of this bead right here. We're going to pick up our little unit, so we're going to pick up a 15-0, a pearl, and a 15-0. And we're going to go down 2 and in, and then up 3. So I'm going down 2 seed beads. That is including the seed bead I'm coming out of. And then as I go into them, I'm coming up through 3. Just like that. 3. That one escaped. Let me get it. Ew, there we go. All right, so down 2, up 3. And the start is hard to hold on to and show you in camera, so I'm sorry if I'm a little clumsy, but it's a little difficult to hold on to. So I'm going to pull this all together, and I'm going to rearrange my pearls again. Make sure they're all together. So I'm going to push them all together and to the right side of my bracelet. The first few can get off and be weird because there's just not a lot of structure yet. So now I'm pulling my thread, making sure they're all nice and tight, and then I'm going to do my next unit. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0, I'm going to pick up a pearl, and a 15-0. Now we're coming down and into 2 beads, including the one we're coming out of. So we're going to go in here. And your beads are loose on this, so you can move them a little bit if you need to. So we're going to go down these 2. And then as we come up, we're going to come out the 3. Just like this. Down 2, up 3 in one stroke. Then we're going to pull our little bead down and situate it. So I'm going to push it to the right. And you can see it's already starting to spiral. So just push it to the right, pull my thread. And then I just expose my core beads so that I can work on them again. So now I'm going to pick up a white one, a white pearl unit. So I'll pick up a 15-0, a pearl, and a 15-0. And I'm coming out of this bead here. I'm going to go down 2. So I'll go up through the one beneath it, and then up through 3 as I come through. And I'm going to hold on to this, trying to get it so you can see what I'm doing. And I know my finger's in the way, but I will move it. Just draw this down. Make sure it doesn't hook on any of your previous beads. Draw it down slowly and push it to the right side. Pull it tight. As you're working, you can move your little beads around so that you can get in and out of them easier too. That's why we left slack on it, on the bracelet itself. So now we need to make another unit. We're going to pick up a 15-0 and a blue pearl and a 15-0. We're coming out of this bead here. We're going to go up through the bead underneath it so it's down 2 beads. Then as we slide up, we're going to go through 3 beads. So there's 3 beads on your needle, just like this. So your mantra will be down 2, up 3. Push it to the right side, tighten your thread, expose your core beads facing you like this. And it's wobbly. Excuse me. So you need to just keep arranging it and then pick up your next pearl. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0 pearl, 15-0, and coming out of this bead here, I'm going to go up through the one on, or I'm going down 2 and up through it and 3, just like this. Down 2, up 3. Pull this down nice and slowly. Tighten it and push it to the right side. Make sure your thread is nice and tight because you don't want these loosening. And then you're going to pick up a 15-0 and a pearl and a 15-0. You're coming out of this bead here. You're going to count it, so it's 1. The one beneath it is 2. We're going to go into that one and slide up through 3 of the core beads. Just like this. I'll get you even closer. And then as you pull this down, you got a lot of thread, so just pull it slowly, tighten it, and push it to one side. And you might even just need to kind of turn your bracelet to the side so that you just expose your core beads and you keep your spiral going in the same direction. And let's do this again. Let's pick up a 15-0 and a white pearl and a 15-0. I'm coming out of this bead here. I'm going to go into the one beneath it and slide up through 3 beads, just like this. And pull this through and tighten it. And we'll do one more and we'll continue to length until we get to the very end. So as you can see, I just kind of have to turn my little bracelet around because there's weight on it. I just turn it so that my core beads are always facing me, but I'm making sure I turn it the same way and I always push my beads to the same side. So now I pick up a 15-0 and a pearl and a 15-0. I'm coming out of this bead. I'm going to go down into the one underneath it and up through 3 beads, just like this. And I'm going to hold on to it gently, pull my thread through, and pull it down. And now I can just push it to the side and kind of turn my bracelet a little and continue. So continue doing this until you're all the way to the very end, and I'll come back and show you how to do that end. Okay, so I'll show you the spiral in a minute, but I've come all the way to the end here, and I'm coming out of my 3rd bead after putting on this pearl. So I have 1 bead left here. I'm coming out of the 2nd bead. I'm going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead, and then I'm going to pick up a pearl and a 15-0, and I am going to go back 2 here. Ah, come on. So I'm going down 2, and then I'm going to come up all 3 that are left here, just like this. I'm going to push it to the right so it stays in my spiral, and then I'm going to pick up, so I'm just coming out of these 2 here now, and because it's our very last. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0, and then I'm going to pick up a purl, and then a 15-0. And I'm going to come up through the 2 here. The 2 that are exposed and left, and then we'll bring that through. And now I have to, let me get you in close here. I have to, that's too close, boo. Okay, I have to sew through this last little unit. So I'm coming out of my very last bead right underneath my clasping here. So there's my crimp tube, there's my last bead. I am going to go up through this 15-0 and through the purl. And then I'm going to go down into the 15-0 on the other side of the purl. I'm going to tighten it, and then I'm going to go back into the 2 beads that I'm coming out of. I'm kind of messing up my spiral, so let me fix it before I mess it up completely here. And there we go. So now I need to go back into these 2 8/0s here and come back up through the top. So all I've done is circle through my last purl. And watch your thread, it wants to get tangled on everything. And then I'm just going to pull tight. Now I'm going to tie a knot between this 15-0 on the very top here and the 8/0 right here. So I'm going to put my needle underneath there, pull down a loop, go through the loop, and just make sure that my thread goes on the thread bridge between those beads. So I have just tied a little knot between this 8/0 and the 15-0 right there. Now I can just slide down some of my core beads. So I'm just going to slide down about 4 of them. Just go straight through the center. And then exit your core beads. Now, if you want to tie another knot between the 15-0 and the 8/0 there, you can. But what I'm going to do is just cut off, leaving a little tag of thread. And I just shredded it. Yeah, oh, great. And then I'm just going to get my lighter and get the heat close and just melt that in. And now I have a spiral bracelet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get, I didn't tell you in the beginning to get a 4mm or a 3mm jump ring, something small so that you can connect your lobster claw. Now when you put on your wire guardian, you can drop down your clasp if you want, but I didn't do that because I wasn't thinking about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a 4mm jump ring, find the opening, and let me grab another plier here. My opening's right there. I'm just going to put 2 pliers on and crank it open, and I'm going to put it on the wire guardian, and then I'm going to put on my lobster claw and close it. And see if I can find a little tiny charm or something in my extras here to put on the other side, because why not? Let me see if I can find something quick. And maybe not. Okay, so I can't. So, well, yes, I can. I found something. It might be a little too long. I don't know. I have this little charm here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another little 4mm jump ring on that, and I'm going to hang it on my wire guardian, and then I'm going to put on my loop. So let me get another 4mm jump ring. So any little charm, or you can put a couple of your pearls on head pins and make a little dangle if you'd like. If you don't want one, then don't make one. That's fine too. But I just want to put this guy on a jump ring and then on my wire guardian and close it. And then I'm going to grab an 8mm jump ring and open it, and make sure I don't go through the 4mm jump ring, just the wire guardian, and put on this 8mm jump ring and close it. I'm going to find a different charm probably. I don't know that I like that, but let's see. There it is. I guess I should show you. I should actually be in camera so you can see it. So that's what that looks like. And I can just go ahead and clasp on my 8mm jump ring. I'm going to see exactly my length here, so you'll have a reference to work with, and just adjust the amount of ADOs you put on in the beginning to adjust your length. Make sure it's an even number though. So this turned out to be exactly an 8-inch bracelet. And because this is a 1/2 inch spiral, it's going to take up a 1/2 inch on my wrist, I'm hoping. So let me see what I've got here. I'll see if I can put it on. Yeah, it is a little bit big, simply because of the size of my jump rings, I think, and the fact that I added a jump ring with my clasping. And my clasping is fairly decent size. So I can change the size of my clasping. I can change the size of my jump ring, or make another one a little shorter. But yeah, it's not bad. But 8 inches is usually a little large. Maybe I should have gone for more closer to 7.5. But that gives you a reference, because I was designing this, so I didn't know exactly how it was going to turn out. But you do need to allow for the space on your wrist, because this is kind of bulky as far as the width of it, the diameter of the spiral. So that's what that looks like. And I'm going to make a necklace to match with this little bottle pendant for the treasure bag. So I wanted to make the bracelet first so you could see how the stitch worked, and then we will make a necklace next. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.